G'day, guys. Hello. What episode are we up to, Damo?
92.
Oh, you were right. Oh, shit. See, I thought we were up to episode 93 or 94. Tonight, we've got an old friend of mine on, I used to work with back in the day, Holly.
What's up? I'm Holly.
So, like every other episode and everything, and the way I do it, so you're a DJ, right?
Yes, I am, apparently. Apparently so.
And then pull the mic in.
Oh, yes, sorry. Apparently.
So, how did you get into DJing? How did you get into everything?
I've been in hospo for like 8-9 years, and I remember one of the first bars I worked at, Lost Society, seeing Nat Dawes playing, and that just low-key blew my mind. Like, I just used to love watching her up there, and I just always imagined myself kind of doing something similar.
I don't think I've ever heard of Nat Dawes.
Really?
Is she still around?
She's in Melbourne now.
Okay.
She does like a lot of stuff with like Triple J.
Okay.
Super cool person. Like, yeah, originally from Perth. She's actually Connor Gilbert's cousin, Gilly's cousin.
I don't think
Oh my God, I'm saying all these names. Anyways,
maybe.
a few years pass. I kept working. Like, I love hospo. As you know, that's how we met. Yes, that's her. That's my girl. Jennifer Loveless as well.
Oh,
she's sick. Yeah, so then I was working in hospo. I was always like kind of catering to the DJs. Like, you know me, whenever I would serve you at work, I'd be kind of up there behind the decks like, what is he doing? Yeah.
What's going on?
And then Your Shot came into town. That was like late 2019. And kind of really spontaneously, I went for it. Like, I remember being at work that day and I was a little bit hungover, and I realized that I was meant to take the day off work for the Your Shot interview. So sorry to my retail job, but I pretended to be sick. I left. I went to the interviews, got into the competition, and the rest was kind of history. It was 6 weeks of like, you know, once a week trading plus like the extra sessions that we booked. I had Tina Says as my coach, which was super cool because I'd always really admired her. And
she's a big name.
Yeah, she's a big name. I'm just like super grateful to have even like, yeah, had her as my tutor. But we had 6 weeks of training with Tina, booked in a few extra sessions. I had so much help from friends, lending me equipment, giving me like little hints of advice here and there.
It's so expensive, isn't it, though?
It is expensive. Yeah. Like, I remember just feeling so lost. I was like, what have I got myself into? Because I knew that I couldn't afford to buy equipment at the time. And I was, really lucky to have a few friends who would lend me equipment and, just advice here and there. My friend Denim lending me his CDJs for
shout out.
Shout out to Denim for me crying over my CDJs until 2 a.m. But
that's dedication then. Is it 2 a.m. practicing?
Because I knew that I had never touched DJ equipment when I started that competition. So I didn't even know what BPM meant. I was so confused, so overwhelmed, and kind of the point of me doing it wasn't because I wanted to become a DJ. I just kind of wanted to prove that I could learn something new and like just do it for fun. I guess it was just like a real spontaneous thing that I'd always seen other people do that I thought was really cool. And I just wanted to try it out.
I mean, you've come quite a long way since Your Shot. Like, you play everywhere kind of thing.
Yeah, and I didn't really expect that. Like, I never would have thought, when this started 2 years ago, that I would even have any paid gigs. Like, I remember being so surprised the first gig that I was booked for. Like, I remember just looking at my phone and throwing it across the room because I was like, this can't be happening.
Or just like a moment of like, oh my God, I got the gig kind of thing?
Yeah, literally.
Okay,
like
just checking your phone.
Yeah, and I like the first set that I ever had was probably trash, and I was so nervous for it, but I was
Don't
like
say that.
the feeling that I had when I got off the stage. I was like, I cannot believe that people dance to the music I just played. And yeah, I was just a little bit blown away by that whole thing. And that really did make me want to kind of pursue it a little bit more. But I was just really lucky because of all of my experience in hospitality that I'd been working with promoters for so long, kind of like, I guess I'd kind of built that
like the repertoire kind of thing.
I guess, I'd been networking for 8 years. And people were like, okay, this is cool. Like,
and that's the thing. So many people that try and get into the scene forget that it's all social. Like, you have to be social. You have to be friendly. You have to be nice. You have to network. You have to, you know, like, you don't have to kiss ass per se, but you have to, like, you know, if an opportunity comes up, you got to be like, yes, yep, I'll do it. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm keen, like, kind of thing.
And I've had a lot of like really lovely full circle moments from like DJs and promoters that I have like worked with when I've just been, you know, a bar manager or something, handing them drinks at the bar, and I've been like, oh yeah, like play this track or whatever, like such an idiot, like. And they've come back to me and booked me for gigs. And I remember, especially the Motif guys, I always used to say to them, I was like, one day you guys are going to have me as a resident DJ. And I've been playing with them for, like a year and a half now. So nice. That's like a really nice, like wholesome kind of moment. I remember when they were like, you're ready. Like,
so whereabouts have you played then? And like, how was the Your Shot competition overall? So like, you really enjoyed it, but like...
I really enjoyed Your Shot. Yeah. I made like lifelong friends from that. One of my friends, Anisu, they're a super like, you know, talented rapper, producer in Perth. I absolutely love them. I met them at Your Shot. I've also, I just found the experience really good for me mentally, like resilience wise, because it was kind of one of those things where it was like, okay, you can't pretend to be good at this. You actually do have to practice. You actually do have to put some effort in. You're not just going to be able to go up there and wing it. So I put so much work into it, and especially like hate to bring this up, but like being like a female in the industry, I think that you do have to prove yourself quite a lot, because, you know, the amount of comments that you get where it's like, oh, you know, you're booked because, you know, you're the token girl on the lineup, or maybe because you're like, you look a certain way, or I felt like I wanted to be better than everyone.
And that's exactly what, when I interviewed Olana, that's what she was saying as well. It's like, it's almost prejudice in a way. It's
for sure. And I really respected her response to all the questions that you asked her related to that, because it isn't, when you know that you're booked as the, you know, token person on the lineup, it makes you want to work that much harder to show people that you can mix. And I think that is actually, what has made me a better DJ, if anything, from getting comments like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll see you at my next gig kind of thing. Like,
and so what type of music do you use? Like, what's your favorite kind of genres and stuff?
So interestingly enough, at Your Shot, I was really trying to emulate like the whole Big Ape scene. Like, that was peak me 18-year-old, just big RL grime energy, like real trappy kind of stuff.
Big Ape, where was that? Was that at
That was at Shape. Back when that was a thing.
Wow, that's back in the day.
I was a Big Ape regular. And I used to just like, I feel like when I was creating my Your Shot set, I was trying to emulate that, because that's when I would dance the hardest, and I was always, you know, everyone would leave the club sweating, and I just thought that was so beautiful in its own way. But I started getting booked for house sets. So the first like paid set that I ever did was supporting CHOOMBA for the Racket Club, which was super cool. And that's where I met Ren and Sammy, which are two of my like closest friends now, which is really nice to say because I used to watch them before I ever started DJing.
Shout out to those two.
Shout out. But so I pretty much mostly play house, and then when I get, you know, I get a few bookings for like hip hop and kind of like indie electronica when I do like breweries and stuff like that. But I feel like I've played at most of my favorite venues in Perth: Henry Summer, Magnet House, the Rechabite, El Grotto. That is my favorite venue.
Ooh, El Grotto is pretty good.
Yeah,
every time I walk past,
love a tequila.
It's banging.
Yeah,
it's just so loud, just thumping out of that.
Yeah, and then just so many lovely little pop ups. I was really lucky to get set at Seasons last year, and I've just been. Yeah, I say lucky, but at the same time, like, I've worked pretty hard for that.
Yeah, good. That's good. You got to work hard, but nothing just happens, you know. It can happen in a blink of an eye, but, you know, you got to stick your thumb out.
I think it definitely did happen in a blink of an eye. I think my first set, I wasn't entirely ready. I didn't even have the proper headphone jack, like to go into the equipment when I first, like for my first set. I remember running around the venue and Keeg Scott, I don't know if you've ever met him, but he was super lovely. He saw me frantically running around being like, I don't know how to plug my headphones in. And he was like, oh, I've got like 3 of these in my bag. And it's just like all those little moments like that you look back on, and it makes you really appreciate all the kind people in this kind of community.
That's it. Yeah.
And you realize there are actually more people looking out for you than there are competition in that sense.
And so that's the thing, is like that's where you kind of have to like see past, you know, the competition or toxicity and just be like, hey, everyone's just here to have a good time. Let's just have a great time kind of thing.
Yeah, I've honestly probably received I have received more positivity than I have toxicity in this industry, like as a whole.
That's really good.
Yeah,
I
think so as well. And I think that's really important to outline as well, especially when you talk about referring back to what I said before and Olana's comments as well, is as much as, you know, we do experience comments that maybe other people wouldn't, there is also a really wholesome community behind us. And it's probably not spoken about enough.
Well, that's exactly it. It's just that, you know, the word needs to get out more.
Yeah.
Because it's equality, and it should be already equal kind of thing.
I guess sometimes bad experiences do stick out a bit more than wholesome ones, but as a whole, like, I've been extremely grateful for everyone I've met through DJing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so with the Your Shot competition, so like it was for 6 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And then so like, how did you, like, from the way you learnt and like the way you went about it, like, was it just kind of just easy to put the pieces together in a way? Like, how was like the curriculum, I guess you could say, kind of thing?
I think the curriculum was really well set out and it made complete sense. But DJing's also one of those things where there's a moment where it clicks, and it took me, I swear to God, up until the night before for it to click. Like, I couldn't get my head around so many buttons. I felt like I was flying a spaceship. Yeah. I was like, there's just a lot going on here. Yeah. I don't know what's happening. I'm not remembering to change stuff. Yeah. Especially because obviously you can't use the sync button.
Yeah, I got told about that. Like, they took marks off it using the sync or something.
Yeah, or you'd be disqualified. Actually, the person who was on before me pressed it before I came on. And because I'd never used the sync button, I didn't know what was happening. I was like,
why is it all just matching up?
Yeah. And Tina could see I was panicking. I looked behind me and she, pressed the button and I was like, oh, thank God. Because I was like, no, she could see I was trying to change it to, because I had a whole thing going on. But
do you sync now or quantize and stuff?
I quantize, like for the most part.
I mean, you can admit it because I use sync all the time.
Yeah, so. I don't really use sync for some reason. I think because I'm always changing BPMs throughout. And a lot of my friends hassle me when they play on my, like with my USB. They're like, oh, none of your tracks are lined up. And I'm like, that's because I like work at a lot of venues that I can't even see the wavelength. So, as soon as I started going to Frio Social and using like older equipment and stuff, I started realizing I really need to start beat matching with my own ears instead of relying on, cue buttons and stuff, because half the time you're using different equipment. You just really have to know your music.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's what it really comes down to. And like a lot of people, like, they think they can just jump into it and know the equipment. But if you don't know your music, like, see, I have this problem where it's like, like, say I'll go and play at Market Grounds with a good mate of mine, and then like he'll let me jump on his laptop. And so, like, he's got all of his music queued up the way he's queued it up, and I've got mine all the way, the way I've done mine. So I'm sitting there like, like, just search songs up. No, he doesn't have that. Yes, he does have that. Okay, oh shit. Like, and then by the time it's like, okay, bring it in. Just try and slam it in there. That's it. And that's the thing is, like, when you're under the spotlight like that, the anxiety, the panic can kind of happen, but then at the end of the day, it's like when you walk away from that gig, you're like, yeah, I did an all right job.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's so important to remind yourself that half the people don't know, like if you've made a mistake, most of them actually aren't aware of it, unless they're also a DJ and they're standing there like, that was a bit rough. Like,
but that's exactly it. I think it was I mention him all the time, but Genga was one of my favorite episodes. He is so cool, that guy.
He used to always DJ at Lost Society, another person I super admire.
He is a legendary Pokemon.
Yeah,
but
he is a legendary Pokemon.
Yeah, the way he basically said it was just like, if you finish a gig, right, I'm pretty sure it was him that said it, but if you finish a gig and you think you've done really, really bad, and like your friends come up or some, randoms come up and say, oh, you did really, really well, never say that, oh, no, I did shit.
Yeah.
Because then they go, okay, well, next time's probably going to be better then, right? Like,
yeah.
Next time I see you, and then the pressure's on. It's like, no, but like I did all right the first time.
Exactly. And I think there is so much to be said about the resilience in messing up, playing it off in front of a crowd, and moving forward. Like, you can't let like mistakes just define your whole set, because you could have one transition that you're so off, but then no one's going to remember that if you play great music for the rest of the time.
That's it. And the thing is, well, it makes it more human in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like, instead of just being like, okay, there's no mistakes, there's no this, there's no that. It's like, okay. Like, someone notices and it's like, well, they're doing it properly.
Yeah, like, I low-key love hearing someone, like, do a slightly messy transition, because I'm like, ain't no beat match in there. You haven't pre-recorded this. Love it. Like, we're doing this on the fly. Like,
do you ever play any edits or anything like that as well, out and about, where they're like 2 or 3 songs mashed together?
I've played a couple mashups that I just think are super funny. Like, there's this one I love to play, like the Hot in Here Bus It mashup. Okay. I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
but
yes,
or like, that on the wall has just reminded me. Mulcahy loves sending me little mashups that he does.
He's a really cool
shout
dude.
out to Mulcahy.
He's really cool.
Yeah, he's such a nice dude. Yeah, I don't play a whole lot of mashups. I play a lot of edits, but yeah, not a whole lot of mashups. But I have found just like the longer I've been DJing, the more music I need, because, it used to be like 30 songs in an hour, and now it's like 80 songs in an hour. And I know I get bored if I'm listening to a song for too long. That's why when you're in the car, you're like, next.
It's just the research behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's part of the job almost. It's like every week, if you are passionate about the job, you should be doing research on the side just to improve and like, find new stuff. It's like what I was saying before to you earlier, like, I've already got a bit of 90s hip hop, but I want to expand on that more.
For sure.
Because like, I don't know, it's my own personal opinion, but I just don't like mumble rap. So I'm like more of a classic 90s, 2000 rap. But then with that, it's like, diving, it's not so much like crate digging, but it's just like it's going skip. Oh yeah, this sounds all right. And then listening to it and then,
and like listening to a lot of mixes. Like I remember, when I was first learning to DJ, doing Your Shot, I was constantly listening to Mix Max. I'm pretty sure that's like a Bali energy drink. Anyways, like I was listening to a lot of Mix Mag mixes, and because you can see what they're doing, that's actually how I kind of learnt to step away from, just beat matching and like fading in and out, but like listening to, where the low, the mids and the highs are, and like kind of playing with things a bit more rather than just bringing something in at the end of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely, everyone makes fun of me for it, but I will frantically download music.
It's
pretty
a good
much
thing, though.
Yeah.
Like, how can they make fun of you for that? That's showing that you're dedicating, you're interested.
I guess these are friends who've been doing it for a while. They don't need to do it anymore, but like...
Yeah, they've already got a big collection.
Yeah, my library expands by like at least like 100 to 200 songs, like pretty much every time I play a set. And because I don't really plan them anymore, I feel like half of my fun is...
freestyling.
Seeing where I'm going to go with it, reading the crowd, super important.
Yep.
My first sets, I always used to plan to a T. I would have all my cue points and stuff, and it's just not realistic going forward. Like, you just need to know your music.
That's exactly, and that's the thing as well. Like, the key thing that you said just then is like, you have to read the crowd.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just like, back in the day going to Capitol and stuff like that, and then, DJs would plan from start to finish, and it's kind of like, but people aren't vibing this song. It's like, you should see how, okay, you've got a bunch of 18-year-olds in front of you, or a bunch of 25 or 30-year-olds, like, play appropriately kind of thing.
And I know that most DJs have experienced that moment when they arrive at a venue, maybe half hour before, check out the DJ that's on before them, and you're like, oh shit, that was half my set.
Yeah, that's it. It's like,
oh my god, I gotta do something about this. So that's like another reason why I always like to make sure I have a little bit more than I need in the library
and keep it fresh. Kind
yeah,
of thing.
exactly. And I think that it's really important to also listen to the people who are on before you, because it's so easy to get lost in your own kind of echo chamber of what you just listened to.
That's it. And it's also just the thing of like, you know, if you're doing it week in, week out, you can kind of like it's not so much get bored, but when you play the same stuff over and over and over again. Oh,
yeah.
Like I said this to a really, really good mate of mine a while ago, but it's almost like I figured out a formula kind of thing. And it's like, okay, if I go and play at bars or pubs, if I play X, Y, Z, then I know it's going to generate a response.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I might give out a business card or get a, you know, people might come up and say thank you or like it's really good or whatever the scenario is. But then I just got bored of playing playing Dancing Queen every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. So there's like trying to mix things up and just freestyle and then just try and exclude tracks.
Yeah.
But then obviously sometimes someone will come up to me like, can you play ABBA? And you're like,
can you please play WAP?
It's like, well, that's exactly it, right? Do you get many requests for WAP?
I do get a lot of requests for WAP. I think people see a female DJ and they're like, let's do this.
Yeah, that's it. Right?
And I'm like, do you know the dance?
There's when they get on the floor and start humping the floor. I haven't had that happen yet. I kind of don't want that to happen. Have you had the eagle, what was it called, Damo? The eagle?
The eagle.
But what was it called? The eagle dack or something like that?
It's the eagle rock and then they dack themselves.
That's it. But there's actually like a proper thing for it.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. People, I don't know where it came from, but people do it. Men love it.
Had no idea until we actually like, I played at the Flying Scotsman once and then a whole bunch of kids came in from a party bus.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, like that. It was just...
Yes.
But when I like a bunch of kids came up to me and they actually asked for Eagle Rock and I was like, this is odd. And then as soon as I played it, they all dacked themselves and the manager comes up to me and is like, what did you do? I'm like, I don't know what I did.
I don't feel like this is on me. This is culture.
Yeah, this is a kid thing. This is not me. But it's in a way it's good though because it's interacting with the crowd.
Exactly.
And that's what you got to do,
and that's my favorite thing. Like if someone comes up and requests a song and I don't have it, I'm always super honest and I'll write it in my notes.
That's it, yeah.
Because
I do the exact same thing. I'll try and buy it on the fly.
Yeah. I can never download music on the fly. But
beauty of a MacBook. Honestly. Yeah. Like I was always Windows and then my mate actually convinced me to get a MacBook and then I bought it and I was like, wait a minute, I can hotspot my phone, go on the Wi-Fi, go on iTunes, buy the song, import it into Tractor, analyze it, key analyze it as well. And then play it. And it was like, wait a minute.
I used to do that at Henry Summer. But I don't feel like I have time during like, you know, those 1-2 hour sets, like to do that kind of stuff. Because I feel like I'm mixing so quickly. You know, I'm kind of giving every song like 30 seconds or if I like it, I'll, you know, play it out. But yeah, it's always like a tricky predicament. I always try and play something similar. Give it the best go I can.
Yeah, see, I do something similar as well. Where it's like if someone comes up and requests a song and then I don't want to play it or I do know it or I don't have it, I'm just kind of like, what about XYZ instead?
Yeah,
do you want one of these 5 songs instead?
The absolute worst is when someone's like, everyone's going to love this.
And
then you play it.
And then no one loves it.
Everyone even the person who requested it leaves and you're like, what? Why did you do that to me?
It's like, just shot me in the foot.
I feel like you just roasted me. Like, why?
Do you ever get like people that hold their phones up and they're just like, play drum and bass or play rhythm? You're like,
and I'm like, yeah, it's a Wednesday night, student night. I'm not sure if I'm allowed, but I definitely do. Like, I absolutely adore drum and bass and like, you know, like halftime dubstep and stuff like that. And I feel like I need to expand my library in that sense because I definitely have, I feel like every house song under the sun, like a lot of disco, a lot of 90s, a lot of rap and hip hop. But yeah, that's like one genre that I'd really love to, or sub-genres that I'd really love to tap into.
Well, it's all just research.
Yeah,
finding
definitely.
What you love in a way. And that's the thing as well. It's like, the way I've always looked at things is like, if you can mix music well, then you can play anything. And it's like, it's hard to explain, but a lot of, you know, bartenders or bar managers, right? If they don't know much about DJing and then they just here's something that sounds fast, they'll be like, it's drum and bass. But it's not drum and bass. It'd be something else.
Yeah.
But then it's like...
That's breaks, baby.
That's exactly its purpose. But it's also just one of those things where, like, if you can mix it in and it's all smooth and it's really, really, it just works well, then there shouldn't be an issue, kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, like, unless it's like, okay, we need you to play a whole drum and bass set, then it's a bit different.
Yeah.
But if you're playing at a pub or a bar or this or that, and then everyone gets up and dances.
Yeah, as long as it's not jarring.
Exactly. And that's like, you know, it comes back to things like Rudimental in a way. Like,
Yeah.
everyone knows Rudimental, but Rudimental is drum and bass.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it just kind of goes over their radar almost.
Even I was actually nervous about you asking me like what my favorite genres were, because I get so confused with genres and subgenres, and like I feel like
there's so many.
I know, and and they're all
many.
derived from different places. Like the history of music is so interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something I'd really like to kind of delve into a little bit more. Is you can't fully master a craft unless you know the history of it, and that's something that I'm kind of learning about and researching more as I go along, because even you look at a lot of house music and it's derived from like black jazz, and
that's it. There's a really good documentary you should check out called Around the Sound.
The Sound.
And like, Damo, see if you can pull it up. It's Around the Sound, but it's the story of house music through the Chicago scene.
Awesome.
And so it actually
cool.
It did start out as like a lot of like African Americans would be actually like throwing these parties where it's like kind of almost the beginning of the gay communities kind of really coming out in the 80s and the 70s kind of, or 80s and 90s kind of thing. But then it's like, police would come and shut them down and things would happen and everything like that, but they kept pushing forward.
Exactly.
And then the birth of Chicago house kind of happened.
Yeah.
And it took the world by storm.
And
it's
those
really
kind of
cool.
stories are amazing to me. And like, my parents are South African and I grew up in Indonesia.
Wow.
So like, I find a lot of my, everyone's taste is just derived from like life experience.
That's it.
And I find I like am so attracted to kind of jungle remixes, and I fuck around with a cowbell, like anything that sounds like anything that sounds like a little bit like I don't know, it's just a lot more groovy, it's funky, and I'm super into that. I think because of my upbringing.
Well, that's the thing, is music's subjective.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, Perth is this, well, I think it still is the second biggest city for drum and bass and stuff like that, next to London and everything like that. But the thing is, though, is like now it's starting to spread out into Europe, and, like you got Berlin techno and you got all these different genres that kind of all come together. And as you said, like they are all little subcategories, subgenres, but they all have their place in a way.
For sure. It's so interesting as well to me that, there were so many genres before I started DJing that I actually really wasn't into.
But then they kind of grow on you, right?
Yeah, like I used to think that house music was boring.
Yeah.
And I am the biggest house music person now. Like I supported Late Night Tough Guy last weekend, and I was ecstatic playing my first song. Like I'd been playing it all day. Once I heard it on those big speakers, I could have shed a tear. Like I was just, I was just stoked. Like, and I think there's a lot of music that, well, like anything, if you don't understand it, you might not like it. And, obviously taste is subjective, but even techno, I didn't used to love techno, went to a few kind of techno gigs. Even drum and bass, I wasn't the biggest fan. Seeing Sammy the Sinner play a few weeks ago before like Echo and Sidetrack and stuff, I was just, same feeling, like cannot explain it. My heart was going to explode. I was just, this is endorphins. Like,
but that's exactly it as well. Cause like, the way I've always looked at it is there's, you gotta wade through the shit to find the gold. And that's where it comes into being subjective almost, because one person might really like this song, but then if you don't like the song, you'll find other tracks that you'll really like and they might not like. But it's just like being able to test the waters almost. Yeah. And like, see, I'm always one of like I'm kind of a guy where I'll always ask for reviews on different things. Yeah. So it's like when it comes to phones or cars or this or that, it's like gather everyone's kind of knowledge and then make your decision on everyone else's opinions almost, which can be good and can be bad sometimes. But the thing is, like with music, it's like if you see people jiving, like when I first started getting into professional DJing, my good mate of mine who taught me how to do it told me, it's like look around the crowd and go, You know, what can you play to get her dancing? What can you play to get that couple up and dancing? What can you play to get those guys like, you know, grooving and having fun? And then it's just like thinking about, you know, not so much the psyche, but it's like, because it's almost a game in a way.
Yeah, it is. DJing to me has always been like a little puzzle. Like I'm trying to make these songs match together, and I'm trying to make sure that all of that matches what's going on out there to create an atmosphere.
That's it.
And there's no better feeling than putting the pieces together and seeing people groove to it.
That's exactly it.
Got to be the reason why it's so addictive.
And it's one of those things as well. It's like with venues, it's like if you go, you know, past I don't know, a pub that's falling apart, or it's like, you know, the people in there don't look very friendly or this or that, but the music's really good. Then it's like, you know, it's I've always said it's like the 3 or 4 things, where it's the atmosphere, who's in there, and what does it look like? You know, is it family friendly? Are there dickheads in there or whatever? Is the place looking nice? And what's the music like? You know, do you like the kind of tunes in a way? But that's where it's so important, having a DJ or a really good band where they can actually provide that atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's just like what we said before. If the DJ's kind of falling apart or whatever, and you go in there, like, you feel bad for the DJ, but then it's like, people are leaving, and you're like, no, but they're really good though. Like, what's going on, kind of thing.
And I think that's where ego comes into it a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Like being able to accept constructive criticism and being able to recognize that not everyone likes the same thing that you do.
Yeah.
I think that has been one of the most character building things for me throughout DJing is being able to accept constructive criticism without being offended or upset. Like, okay, this is what I can do better, and then I'm going to get more gigs. And if you look at it that way, you will get more gigs.
That's exactly it. But if you take it to heart and you're like, no, I don't want to do it, or like, you know, you start really getting worried about it, then it's... And you gotta
recognize, like, I know I'm not a headline DJer, so, well, yet.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, people aren't coming there specifically to see me, for the most part. So,
well, don't say that. You're a pretty big name in Perth, in my opinion.
But, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm supporting people, so you have to understand what is the demographic, like, what do I need to do to make these people happy, and how am I going to do it? And if someone, you know, gives you a little bit of, oh, that was a bit heavy for the time, you've accept it and say, oh yeah, I'll work on that for next time. I'll get my 8 to 9 because, you know, maybe I was playing a bit more of a 2 to 1 kind of set. Like,
but that's exactly it. And that's where it's like...
I used to always go too heavy.
That's it. And the reviews and the criticism. Like, any criticism is good criticism.
Yeah.
As long as you take it right. And as long as they're not full on like, no, fuck you. Like, you're doing horrible. And like waving their hands in the air. It's like, no, but, you know, that's when you get security involved. Like, this guy, get him out. But that's exactly it. And it's just... There's so much involved that people don't realize.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, some people just think all you do is press play. And it's like, I've had people come up to me and be like, oh yeah, play the next song. Like, perfect example is actually on Saturday night, I did a function event for a really, they're a good company that I work for, and I love them to bits. But I did it was like a gala thing. I don't really know what a gala is, but it's like...
Oh, gala.
Gala, yeah.
Gala!
No, yeah, see, that's what I mean. Like, I see that, I'm like, isn't that a bird? Like, yeah, that's it. Like,
sorry.
When that started popping up, I'm thinking, like, this doesn't make sense. What is this event kind of thing? But it was a construction event, like construction company kind of thing. And they literally treated me like a CD player.
Yes.
So I was like... They'd come up to like, so it started out great, and before like they did the speeches and stuff, I was playing background music, and I was just like making sure everyone was having a good time. Then as soon as the speeches were over and they started drinking more, then they're like leaning on the table like, play Akadaka. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll play Akadaka. No, play it now. See that? That's the boss's wife over there. She wants Akadaka. And I'm kind of like, I'm halfway through a song. No, play it now. And I'm like, we don't like this song. Next one. And that was happening. I'm
speaking for everyone here.
That's it. And when the boss of the company is coming up and barking at you, you're kind of like, okay, I'll just press pause and start the next song for you. Like,
private functions are so much more like
stressful.
Nerve-wracking in that sense. I always ask people to give me, you know, a list of songs or a playlist they've recently made if I'm going to be playing a birthday party, because I'm like, we are not doing this again.
Have you ever done any weddings or anything like that at all?
I'm actually too frightened to do a wedding.
They're pretty full on.
At the moment, yeah. Too frightened to ruin the best day of someone's life.
That's exactly it, right? Like, I get the same thing. I'm
yeah.
like, okay, the bride's got to be happy. Just kiss her ass the whole day.
Recently I was getting tattooed by a girl called or Pocahontas or Amy the Flower, whatever you will. Check her socials. Her partner is Yon Jovi. He's one of my favorite DJs in like local DJs. And he was telling me about a wedding that he played where just one thing after another, it was like there was no, like the battery in the microphone went off and then this, and I just honestly, I was like, I couldn't do it. I could not do it. But yeah, even 21st and stuff, you know, I get that vibe. And also when you're out and about, people are like, play like, I don't know, just example song.
Insert song.
and then I'm like, oh, I don't have it, and they're like, well, just get it, and I'm like, I just have a USB. Like,
and so that's similar. That on Saturday night, like a guy came up to me, and he's like, "Can I just plug my phone in?" I kind of looked at it, and I was like, "That doesn't work like that." It
will charge.
Yeah, he was like, "Why doesn't it work?" Because I have to buy the music. Oh, well, buy it then. I'm like, okay. So I bought his song, and it's like whilst I'm playing really, really heavy stuff, not heavy stuff, but upbeat rock and roll. And he wanted me to play Sugar, like that song where it's like Sugar How You Get So Fly.
Oh, Sugar How You Get So
That's
Fly.
it. And I'm like, I'm literally playing Thunderstruck right now. Like, you want me to mix that in? Like, okay. And then
we'll figure it out.
But that's the thing. Then I played it for him, and then, as I said, like the boss and his wife were just like, what is this?
This is not Akadaka.
And then like, she came up and she's like, next. I'm like,
it's a real, it's a real balance. And like, that's why I think like all those years in hospo really prepared me for DJing because like
dealing with people.
Yeah, it's such a balance between, you know, making everyone happy and also playing, you know, stuff that fits in with each other and stuff that you know, have been kind of given an outline to play, like especially when you're in clubs. Like,
that's the thing though as well, where I just find pubs, bars and clubs are just so much more fun because you've got the freedom to play what
exactly
you want
and you're a little bit further away. They can't really, they can't really reach you.
Yeah, they can't lean on the table like but that's exactly it.
Yeah, no, I remember one of the most and I don't like to talk negative. One of the most infuriating experiences I've had recently was when I was playing at an event called Juicy's. It's at Hugo's in Frio.
Okay.
And that's all like rap, hip hop, R&B, like, you know, kind of old school, just dancey stuff. And a man kept coming. Oh, actually, it was like 2 or 3 men kept coming up and being like, "Can I have a go?" And I was like, what are you, like, are you having a go at me? And he was like, "No, go on there." And I was like, I just feel like I am not the best DJ ever, and I've been doing this for 2 years. So,
Wait,
no, I didn't like
it.
No,
I was about to say.
I was like, hypothetically, and then I was like, no.
I had something similar happen to me as well. I played at Kalamunda Hotel for New Year's Eve. And that was nuts because it was so busy and it's just all these kids dancing in front of me. And then a guy comes up to me, he literally threw his USB and his car keys on top of my deck. So as soon as that happened, I looked and I was like, picked him up like, what the fuck is this kind of thing?
People throwing stuff. Yeah,
and then he comes up and shoulder bumps me. He's like, "Oh yeah, give me a go." And I'm like, no, I'm getting paid to do this.
Yeah.
Like, you're not. Like, who are you again kind of thing? Like, not trying to be rude, trying to be nice. But he started getting aggressive with me. So I literally like waved over security, gave his car keys and the thumb drive to the security guard. I'm like, "There you go, get him up." That's it. And he didn't like that.
You know, I'm sure. I bet he didn't.
And then being Kalamunda and being like up, you know, in the hills and stuff like that with like that kind of clientele, someone ended up throwing a bottle above my speakers.
Yeesh.
And I just paused the music and was like, yeah, if that happens again, I'm going.
Yeah.
And then kept the music going.
Super fair. Yeah. Super duper fair.
And you have to be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, anything aggressive like that, like...
Exactly. You know, I've had friends who are like even so well-intentioned and they've come and like kind of hijacked sets when I've been out and about and they're just drinking with their friends. And you like... At first, I would be like overly polite. And I remember one day someone had kind of done that to me and the promoter came over and was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm feeling a bit too awkward because this person,
has just hijacked.
Has essentially hijacked my set. Now I'm sitting here smoking a cigarette, and I don't know, I've tried to kind of go back a couple times, and they were like, we are paying you. I'm getting them off now. And I respected that so much. And ever since then, I think that I have tried to be a little bit more, firm but fair with people in the sense that...
well, you have to.
Yeah.
Because it's your job at the end of the day. You're getting paid to be there.
Exactly. And also... we don't have a flow going on here. This is weird for everyone.
Exactly. Like, you haven't practiced back-to-back or anything.
Yeah, like back-to-back. I feel like the only person I've ever done a successful back-to-back with was Sammy the Sinner at, I think it was a Daybreak Club event.
Okay.
And we had an amazing back-to-back. Like, I've got all these super funny pictures of us. Like, none of them are pretty. They're all just me, like just doing the bass face behind her.
Nice.
I think to do a back to back with someone, you really actually have to have like a good chemistry and the same kind of taste in what not necessarily the same taste, but definitely a good chemistry.
And you got to practice that as well.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just jump into it and then it's like, unless you've been doing it 10 years, 15 years or something like that. And the same thing with the other person as well. Because it's like, say for me, like, even though I set up with a laptop and my Tractor S4 next to them, I have done back-to-back before, but I've been comfortable enough to be able to actually just mix songs in. Yeah. And I'll just literally just turn up on the DJM and then just mix my track in kind of thing. But then trying to get them to jump back onto theirs, they've been like, uh-oh, what's going on? Because this is a laptop. This is not CDJs. It's like a bit all over the place. And it's like, no, this is how you do it. And I've been, I've tried to... not teach, but just being like, no, this is how you go about doing it kind of thing.
Even I feel there's like a certain etiquette in mixing in like with the previous DJ. And
there is, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that you can really tell like what kind of person someone is depending on like when you get on the stage and how they respond to it. Some people just immediately unplug it and they're like, yeet. Whereas, last weekend I think was a really lovely example. I was so nervous, just knots in my stomach. I was playing after Ningaloo Records, who I absolutely adore their sets. Like, he plays at Sea Paradiso a lot, and he's just such a vibe. Like, he mixes between vinyl and like vinyl and I don't know, what do you call that? USB shit. Downloaded music and vinyl. And like
MP3s.
Seeing someone mix between the two, and like he has so much energy on stage. You can tell that he loves every track he plays. I've just always really enjoyed his sets. He's just like got a really good stage presence. So I was a bit nervous mixing after him, and I remember saying to him, I was like, oh, don't mind me, but I've had this song in my head all day. Starts with vocals, so I'm just gonna, wait till your track ends and kind of fade this in. And he was like, never apologize for that. He was like, you are playing the song that you love, and like he was just super wholesome about it. Like, he was just like, never worry about that kind of thing, dude. And then when Late Night Tough Guy came on after me, I felt like I had like a really fun set. I love playing disco. You can't frown to disco.
Disco's pretty good.
You cannot frown when you are playing disco. And then Late Night Tough Guy came on and he was like, oh, can you give me a quick rundown of this equipment? And it made me realize that not everyone has not everyone knows all their shit. This is someone you really, really admire. And I was so humbled, like, for them to even, like, ask me. And I gave them a full rundown. And, like, I would always normally kind of do that before a DJ. But I didn't think to do it, like, because, he's so up there kind of thing.
But everyone practices on different equipment kind of thing.
Exactly. And it's really ironic because a few months ago, someone was coming on after me after a set, and I gave them a quick rundown of what was going on, because it's not that you don't think someone's incompetent. It's just there's so many lights, it's dark, there's a lot going on. Like, you could be the best DJ in the world, but if anxiety and a little bit of overstimulation come over you, you can falter very quickly. So I gave him a quick rundown, and I think he thought I was being very patronizing. and then he pressed the wrong button and everyone booed him.
Oh.
And then it was really awkward. But
that's also one of those things as well.
And then it was a terrible start to his set. And I just had no intention of offending him.
But sometimes, not everything's perfect in a way. And that's where I was going to, there's two things I wanted to reference. So, for example, right, using different equipment and everything like that. Did you know that this is what Death Disco told me forever and ever and ever ago, and it was just such a cool story, right? When Empire of the Sun first started becoming bigger and bigger, did you know that they didn't even know how to use CDJs or DJ decks? They had 2 MacBook Pros set up and iTunes set up on both of them. So when one song would finish, the guy would literally press spacebar on the next song. So they just start playing.
Mixing.
That's it. Mixing, spacebar.
Yeah.
And then also Gengar. Once again, I'll reference Gengar, but when you get up on stage and the person before you is jumping around and full of beans and everything like that, you either match them or you got to just get excited yourself, because people are going to the venue to see the DJ or to listen to the music or whatever, the entertainment or whatever. But if you look like you're not Gengar put it in black and white, and it was if someone breaks into your car or breaks into your house or steals stuff or something happens or you break up with your girlfriend or you have a really, really bad week and you go to work and you're not full of smiles, people see that.
Yeah.
And when they see that, they'll go, well, I want to dance and have a great time, but the DJ looks like he's having a bad time.
Yeah.
Maybe let's go somewhere else where the DJ's having a great time.
Exactly. And I think that, you wouldn't see that as a patron knowing... you would think that, that person is probably a bit up themselves or this or that. You could have so many different perceptions of it unless you've done it before and realized that it is a job. And I think that's also something that hospitality once again prepared me for with DJing. You go from crying in the cool room to serving a table being hey, how you going?
That's exactly
it. So it is just a part of that kind of resilience. I remember a day where I found out that a really good friend of mine had passed away, and I had to go and DJ about half an hour later. And it was so, I was wearing sunglasses and I was smiling and dancing, but I was also, wiping tears away for the most part.
Yeah.
And I think it's, it can be, a beautiful distraction, but it's always, not always, but also those, the high highs and the low lows. And, it just like any job, you need to put on that little bit of performance when you're there, because you are an entertainer at the end of the day.
That's exactly it. And it's almost like we're the jester in a way. Back in the day with the high court, and you're the jester in the corner, providing the entertainment, making sure everyone's happy and enjoying themselves and having a great time. And that's where people just don't see that, people do see that or they don't see that, but it's just it's how they interpret it. For example, as well as Friday night I was at the market grounds. I wasn't DJing. I was just there hanging out. But then people are Snapchatting me and filming me and stuff like that. And I'm just who the hell are you? Scratching on people's heads and grabbing their phone out of their hand. What are you doing? Kind of thing. But they're all trying to they're drunk and they're doing their thing. But they're people can be assholes sometimes.
Yeah. And that's just the truth.
That's exactly it. And with the hospitality industry, it's like you said, we built up resilience to it. Because customer service.
Because, I do get the odd person who's oh, you suck or whatever. And I'm I can either boil this down to you being jealous of me or purely just an asshole. But either jealousy. Way, I don't feel that bad.
That's it. That's the way you got to be. You're just yeah, whatever.
Yeah, you can let it get to you or you can let it just run off you. And I'm not saying it doesn't get to me sometimes, but I definitely think there's a level of resilience that I've gained from DJing, as well as, but mostly DJing, I feel.
Yeah. And that's what people don't realize as well. It's just... It's not so much character building, but it makes you a stronger person going through these situations.
Because hospitality is one thing. You can say you don't like your meal. I'll go back to the chef. You can yell at me. It actually doesn't affect, I don't like someone yelling at me, but it doesn't affect me. But when you're giving a little bit of a part of yourself, this is my taste. This is I've worked all week on this. And someone comes up to you and goes you suck because you didn't play whatever song Fisher. They wanted. When it wouldn't have fit in. But it does it does hurt for a little second longer than you would like it to. Like,
that's it. But then you look around like, well, they're dancing, having a good time.
Exactly.
Who are you, kind of thing.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, you just think like, I'm proud of myself for even being able to be up here. Yeah.
And that's exactly it. And that's where, you know, I've said this in the past as well, where it's like, you know, you see, when I used to go to Capital all the time with Death Disco and stuff, you'd see people that come in and do the circuit almost.
Yeah.
And it's like the circuit of like, you know, they'll go and play all these different venues, but then it's like either they didn't resonate with the staff or the event team or the managers or whatever the scenario is, or they weren't kind of ready yet to continue on in a way. And that's where it's just like, you know, either they disappear out of the scene or they push through it and they're like, they've got the dedication to keep going. Because, you know, it doesn't, as I say, like, it can happen overnight, but the practice and the experience doesn't happen. Like, you just got to keep at it.
For sure. Like, I've definitely had, and I still have nightmares about these times where, you know, I've gone into an emergency loop at a venue, or I've been going there to set up and there's no sound tech and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And all you can do is push through those scenarios and try and learn as much as you can.
That's it.
So then I get people to come and I get, you know, I go on a day that I'm not being paid and I get someone to show me how they set everything up, or I go and practice on a friend's CDJs. There's, you know, that's the only way. You can't just pretend that you're not going to experience that again.
And so, like, a perfect example of that is the Peach Pit. Like, I love the Peach Pit, but like, have you ever tried playing there on a Friday night before?
I've never played there. I've only been a bartender there.
Okay. So you're lucky because you said you're playing there on Sunday, right? But on Friday night, you have to set everything up.
Yeah, but Sunday at 4, will I?
No, that's it. Everything will be already set up, ready
great.
to go. And so that's what I mean. On Friday night, you have to plug all the cables in. So every time I go there, I'm like, okay, so this XLR goes into that speaker, that one goes in that speaker. Okay, I'm missing a cable now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What am I missing?
Who put these away?
Yeah.
I'm not a sound tech. And I remember getting a lot of shit when I like complained to one of my friends. They were like, oh, well, you should know how to set that up. I was like, well,
every venue's different.
At the end of the day, like, I've literally only ever plugged my RX2s in, like, at home. Like, I know how to.
Red and white.
yeah. Like, I know how to mix, but like, I don't know, like, you know, back of house sound entirely. And I think that's like, that was such a good lesson for me because it just made me realize like how much more goes into it as well. And it just made me want to learn more. It didn't dishearten me. It just made me feel like, no, I must know the most kind of thing. Like,
well, that's exactly it. And it's fun doing that kind of stuff as well, because then you learn their equipment. Like I said, every venue's different. But then when you rock home, you're like, okay, this is old equipment. Like, all right, this goes in here, this goes in there. All right, yep, now I know it. And then you go to other venues and it's, you know, it could be similar, it could be different, but it's kind of almost, you know, similar formula.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
changes a little bit.
Yeah, once you get the kind of formula and you understand like what the chords mean, like I feel like I spent so much time Googling. I was like, what is XLR? What does this mean? Like, and I used to have a friend who was like very tech savvy, come to me with like to all of my gigs, especially if they were during the day, because I knew I would have to set up, and they would come with me. And, you know, in a sense, I do feel as though venues kind of should have that set up when you get there. But in the same regard, like, I'm also really happy that I learned how to do that because I think it's given me like a little bit of extra information, well, not a one-up, but extra information, yeah. When I am learning how to DJ and when I'm, you know, troubleshooting things, like sometimes I remember once it took me ages to realize, like I'd set up all the equipment and I didn't realize that it was on reverse, and I was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah, like every time I play this song,
because you've never pressed that button before, so you don't know it exists. Yeah. Like everything you learn is literally from mistakes you make. So as cliche as that sounds, like you gotta make it.
Well, that's exactly it. Like I've made the mistakes in the beginning where I've, you know, plugged into the phono port. And then like you swap it over and it's like, this does not sound right. Yeah. What is going on?
Why am I redlining?
Yeah, why is it redlining and why does it sound like it's in a washing machine? What's going on? And then actually having to get one of the bar staff over and be like, they don't know how to do it either. okay, now I'm going to really have to troubleshoot.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, guys, like music. I'll get it. Just wait. Like, kind of thing.
There was a few weeks ago where I was playing an Olivia Rodrigo tribute night. And I was playing for like 5 or 6 hours or something. And by like the 4th hour, I was like, I gotta pee. I definitely gotta go. This is not house music. All these songs are like 3 minutes long. I'm gonna have to yeet through this crowd and then like run back immediately. And this song ended just as I was coming up on stage. And I didn't have, like, I had the next track planned. But everyone was like, what's going on kind of thing. And like, that's where the entertainment part comes in. I was like, thank you guys so much for being here. I just used it as like a gap in my set. Like, and then just like, put in like some real dramatic kind of song. And it's just that spontaneity and that quick thinking that I believe is like the real skill in DJing. And that's also on creating a connection with the crowd. Like, yeah,
that's exactly it. And that's where it's like, it's so much fun, like mixing things up and like playing different stuff. Like, for example, at Long Chim's on Friday night that just went past, I actually mixed in the Harry Potter theme song. And so then everyone just like, it went quiet. And then you just hear the duh, 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 and everyone's like, looked at me like, what is he doing?
That's like a few months ago, I played the Ghostbusters theme song. Yeah. And like, at first it just sounds like a really nice, like, oh yeah, we chillin'. And then it's just like, Ghostbusters.
That's exactly it. And so that's like a staple for me when it comes up to Halloween.
Like, because if you're laughing, like everyone else is having a good time. Like if I just put that track in and been like.
And they just stare them down.
Yeah, like I remember one of my favorite moments recently was I was playing the song Great DJ by the Ting Tings. Okay. And it was at wait, you know that song, right?
I know the Ting Tings.
Nothing but the local DJ.
No, I don't make me sing. You can if you want.
Yeah, I'd rather not. I'm not very good at it. That's why I have not got into production yet.
Just have another glass of wine, you'll be right.
Yeah. I was playing a song called Great DJ, which is about the local DJ. They got some songs to play. And I was like getting into it so hard. As soon as the chorus came on, I knocked out the plug behind me. Ooh. And all the music got out. And I was just like, we go an acapella on this bitch.
But that's awesome though. Because everyone's just like, okay.
Yeah, like me and the car were like, nothing but the I just had to play it off and I was like to my friend, like, plug it the fuck in.
But that's where it just the entertainment comes from.
Yeah, exactly.
And so like another example I can use is like, I've been doing this recently. I've been trying to get off alcohol and it's so hard to do when you're a DJ and you get a bar rider. Yeah. Like, because it's just like, someone at one stage at Scarborough Beach Bar, every time I rock up, they just give me a Bloody Mary. I'm like, I didn't ask for this.
Yeah,
but it's it's an $18 cocktail. I'm not going to say no. But one thing I started doing is like, I'd put on like a 4 or 5 minute song. I'd run to the bar and I'd get 2 shots of tequila. And then everyone's like, what the hell's the DJ doing? He's like sprinting to the bar. Okay. And he's running back with shots.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then I'll play the tequila song. And I'd just stand there, just like back straight. And then just like move my shoulders and then tequila. Tequila.
And then, that's so fun. Like.
That's it. And then everyone sees that and it's like, well, he's having a great time.
Yeah,
like, he's
exactly.
Drunk, kind of thing. Or like, I'll play Austin Powers theme song.
Oh, yes.
And then everyone's just like, this fucking guy.
That's a Cleopatra.
That's it. But that's what I mean. It's like freestyling, having fun, and just going with the vibe.
And I think that's like what I mean when I talk about like not fully planning your sets. I'll always, I'll make a new playlist for every event I play, but I never box myself into a certain set structure because I'm probably going to deviate from that regardless.
Exactly
so there's no point in it. And that's on like knowing the structure of songs and just like, understanding that you can't go from like an absolute banger to just like, just like background music.
That's it, yeah. But that's signs of a great DJ because you know what you're doing. You know how to read the crowd and play appropriately.
I remember like a quote that I'll always remember when I was doing Your Shot was Troy. His DJ name is Troy Division. He was like, think about, your set in terms of like a little roller coaster.
That's it.
Don't start with Fisher losing it. That's all I'm gonna say. Like you can't start up there and then just
Yeah. But that's exactly it as well, because you know you kind of have to play the crowd to the point where it's like you have to give them a break. You can't just go hard.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to go like hard. You got to take them on that roller coaster.
Yeah, exactly.
So
take them on a little journey.
So they can go to the toilet or go to the bar and get drinks. And
I got to pee sometimes as well. We're going to put on a 5-minute song. Like.
It's just, that's how it is kind of thing.
Like I said to you before, the biggest challenge of being a DJ is having a small bladder.
Yeah, that's a pretty big challenge.
Yeah.
So what other venues have you played at and everything? Because you've been around, like you've played quite a few places from what I've seen.
I have been around. I'm trying to, so I know I already named Henry Summer, Wreck-A-Bite, like Rushmore kind of pop-ups. Oh, what's that place in Freo? Coast.
Coast
what? Coast.
You lost me.
Like, fucking...
Damo,
it's
look
called
it up.
like Coast something in Freo. I play there like over like New Year's and stuff. El Grotto. Where else has it been?
I'm jelly about that. El Grotto would just be such cool.
Yeah, it was really fun because it was like after a friend's band had played, so we were all just like
grooving.
Yeah, it was super nice. I knew what they want. Also play. Yeah. Oh God,
you played at Slim's as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I played at Slim's a few times. Oh my goodness, my brain's gone a blank.
I should have wrote out a list.
Yeah.
I can imagine it's like a page long.
I genuinely should have.
Or 2 pages or 3 pages.
All those little pop-ups that come in like over the new year. Claremont Showgrounds, Freo Social quite a lot. As I said, like I'm an other side like resident at the moment. So
I have to admit, I stuffed up there. I got offered to play there almost every Friday, and then I did the wrong thing. Like, I just did the wrong thing.
You should have done it. So fun.
I was going through a point in my life where I was drinking all the time.
Yeah.
And so with that...
That would have made it worse.
That's exactly it. I rocked up and I got everyone dancing. I had a great time, but I had a few too many drinks. And I actually asked the bar manager, like, she came up to me and was like, you know, would you like something to drink? And I said, what's the strongest thing you got?
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's a red flag to tick. Like, who is this guy? Like,
yeah. Surprised they invited me back. They were like, you have a tab here. And I was like, I thought they were free.
That's it. I'm a culprit of that all the time.
Don't keep offering me them if they're not free. Anyways, great beers.
Yeah.
Couldn't stop drinking them.
Where was I going with that? I was going to say something.
Yeah, me also. Now we've both gone a bit rosé.
That's it. It's not because of this either.
Yeah, no, I've been super lucky with with the venues that I've played and the people who have given me like a little chance to play at them, especially the Erickson brothers, like between Slims, Rushmore, like Colada Club and stuff. We've supported some like Metros played there for like the after party for Young Franco and Bag Raiders and Owl Eyes.
Oh, and Bag Raiders as well. And Owl Eyes.
Yeah, and the Court, that's where Late Night Tough Guy was. And I've not like held my cool for any of that. Every time I meet someone that I really admire, I so say it. And that's
just like complete
that's the exact opposite advice that I've been given. They're like, yeah, play it cool.
I've always been told the same thing, but I would be in the same position.
I'm just super honest. I'm like, dude, I love your music. Like, listen to you every day. And like, maybe that's not, I'm not being like, meh. Like, I'm just like outwardly saying, no, maybe not that.
But that's a good thing though, because like, you know, I've always been told it's like,
I don't want to regret not saying it.
Well, that's exactly it. You don't know when you get the next chance to see them again.
Exactly. Especially with like the current climate that's going on at the moment. I don't know when you're going to come back.
That's exactly it. And like a good example for me, right, was I fanboyed a little bit too hard, but it was one of the last New Year's at Capitol, and they actually had Pendulum rock up, and then I actually saw Rob Swire downstairs, and I was just like, hi. Like, hi, shake my hand, please. Like, I love you. Like, I didn't say it, but I was just like, hello.
I'm shaking.
And like, he was just like, oh, g'day. And I was like, hi. Nice to meet you.
I've also had some like really opposite experiences where I've been like in a green room, like probably shouldn't be there, like on a night off kind of thing. And I've been like, so what brings you here? And they're like, yeah, I'm literally Echo Inside Drive. I'm just like, okay, that's cool. I just saw you on stage.
Here's a good one for you as well. This is something I really wanted to touch on with social media. and like having like an image and having like not so much that persona, but it's like building an audience in a way. Because like, you know, when I used to have my DJ page, I found it just such a struggle to try and get not it's attention, but it's at the same time it's trying to build
engagement.
That's it. It's building your brand and building your business, and it's such a long, full-on process. Like
it is, and you have to be really consistent with it, which is something I've definitely dropped the ball on lately.
But I was gonna say is that your branding for WheresHolly, it stands out. And it just seems like it works, kind of thing.
Thank you.
Because that's like when I said about the Civic Hotel. Yeah. It's like, that's why I asked you before about it. Because I was like, you know, every time I had a look at the Civic Hotel, I'd see your name. I'm thinking like, well, she must be doing the bookings or the manager behind it or something like that.
No, I was a lot more onto it when I first started, because it was like, I think it was more fun and new and different when I first started. I was like, yeah, photo shoot, that's so fun and blah, blah, blah. And not to say that it isn't fun anymore, but it is, life gets in the way.
That's
like,
it, yeah.
Keeping up with consistent promotion is a full-time job in itself.
That's it.
And I work 5 days a week as a disability support, like as a carer. And I find it really hard to make time to take those, or get someone to take those photos, like set aside time for a photo shoot, or even make those posts. Like I found in the last few months, I've really been dropping the ball on even promoting events that I've been playing. And you know, I'm super lucky that I'm still getting gigs, because I know a lot of the time DJs are also half seen as promoters in that sense.
That's exactly it. And that's what I was going to say, where it's like, you know, back in the day at Capital, sometimes you'd only get booked because you could guarantee 80 people through the door.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't guarantee that. Yeah. I don't have a full, like a lot of my friends work in hospitality. A lot of my friends are sober. A lot of my friends don't go out on the weekends anymore. And so my branding is kind of for strangers. Yeah. My branding is for people I meet in the smoking area afterwards. My branding is for people I meet while I'm having a set and I say, this is my, you know, socials or whatever.
But it's like, that's part of the networking in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the problem I had, where it was like, all my friends, I'd get them to come out for the first 3 sets or whatever at Capital. But then I'm like, come again. Nah, we're going to a house party. I'm like, no, but please come support me. Please.
Exactly.
Like, I want more work.
I think the moment I realized it was super important was I was playing in the Goodwill bar at Rackabite. And it was one of the first, paid sets I'd ever had. I think it was for Rushmore. For Piers Erickson with the Rushmore crew. And a girl came up to me after my set. I was on the 1 to 2 set downstairs in the basement. I expected no one to be there. It was one of the funnest sets I've ever played, and it was like, you know, one of the first sets I'd ever played. I had so many compliments, and I had a girl come up to me after and say, you are playing my 21st birthday. That was the first private gig I'd ever got. And
that would have just like hit you in the heart, right?
It did. Yeah, honestly, I got in my car and I was like, that was so fucking wholesome. Like, and to this day, I still talk to her. I played her 21st. We had a sick time, and that's what made me realize how you're not like, I think people who don't do it think that it's quite a pretentious thing, but it's like they don't realize how much it means to you when someone says, you did a great job tonight, or I really enjoyed the music, or just to see people dancing. Like, it warms your heart so much.
That's it, yeah.
And that is the reason, like, we, you know, keep doing it kind of thing. If no one were to dance to the music I played, I think I'd be pretty disheartened and I'd probably stop doing it.
But see, it's something similar as well with me is like, you know, before we started, I said that I record all my DJ sets, right?
Yeah.
But then like, the self-expression part of it's like when I feel down in the dumps or something's not going well in my life kind of thing, I'll actually try and convert those feelings and emotions into making music and making a DJ mix in a way. And so then shout out to Sam if she's watching. I don't know if she's watching, but Sam started she's been painting for a long time, but she said that she loves like depressing music. So when she told me she loves depressing music, I have a whole heap of depressing music if you want. So I sent her all these mixes, and then she's like, this is amazing. I was like, no one listens to this stuff. Thank you, kind of thing. Like, it just hits you straight up, like, you know, just...
Well, that's inspired me, because I have a playlist called Sad Girl BMP, the Sad Girl Bump. And I've got a few mixes where it's... that I've done on these playlists, and I've never shared them because I've been like, who's gonna listen to this? But
well, send them my way and I'll forward them on to you.
I'll share them to you. I think I find recording mixes, especially not live, because I don't know how to record a mix on a CDJ. No one's ever showed me.
You can. There's just like Damo. Can you please look it up if you can? There's like a little thing you can plug in, and it's just like an red and white cable, like the RCA kind of thing. And then it will just record because it's like the out.
Oh,
almost.
okay. But can you do it with a USB?
Yeah. So,
okay.
So you have normal setup CDJ, DJM, but then it's like out of the DJM, it'll be like it's not like your booth out, but it's like almost it's like another out that you can plug in. And then that way you can just record straight into it.
Yeah. I got to learn how to do this because I never record my sets out. Always wish that I did because I find it really hard. And I don't know if you feel the same, but you can't emulate the same kind of energy in your bedroom by yourself.
That's exactly
it. I'm like out here trying to like do my last set in my bedroom. I'm like, I'm bored. I'm going to make a coffee in between.
Yeah. That's it. I don't know if it's the ADD or whatever it is, but I'm just like, I prefer doing, like, if you do it live, then it's, it's a real-time situation. But when you're at home, you're like, yeah, but I can just play this on my phone.
It's actually super interesting because I was diagnosed with ADD around the same time I first started getting gigs. And it was such an eye-opening moment for me. Like, I was like, okay, this makes sense. Yeah.
I was the exact same as well. Like, putting all the pieces together, was like, yeah, this makes total sense. Like, I'm always just like jittering and like looking through music.
And I got to do two things at once.
That's it,
and I think it's really interesting. There's a documentary, I think it's on YouTube or something. It's like, This Is Why We DJ. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No.
But great watch. You should watch it. But it just reaffirmed like so many people who DJ share this like common link where we might be like socially awkward at times. Like we're perceived as these people with these huge personalities and who are so outgoing and ready to tackle any situation. And then off stage, you're a bit like,
They're completely different people.
Yeah.
And Genga put that in black and white as well, where Genga literally said, it's like, when I get up on stage, I'm an extrovert. When I get off stage, I like to read books by myself. Yeah, I'm an introvert.
Exactly.
And I don't like to talk to people, and like I like to do my own thing.
Yeah.
But that's just
I think we all share that extroverted, introverted kind of quality.
That's it. But it's just, when you get up on stage, it's like, it's almost a transformation in your own personal self.
Yeah.
And that's like where I was saying, like, getting tipsy a little bit. And then it's like you really, like, your personality really starts coming out. And you're like, no, let's dance. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Yeah, for sure.
And it provides, but then, provides the entertainment. But then when you get off, you're like, all right, bedtime.
Yeah, definitely. You sit in your completely silent car and you drive home.
And your ears are ringing. You're like, oh.
Yeah, like... I've one of the most stark comparisons was last New Year's Eve. I felt like a complete rock star. Like I had like little GoPros that were doing like a
recording
image of me behind me, like in cool funky patterns. And I'd never had something like that before. Lights everywhere, everyone dancing. Oh, it was so fun. And then as soon as the crowd cleared out and I got off stage and I was sighing a breath of relief, a security guard came up to me and was like, what are you doing in here? I was like, I swear I'm allowed to be here.
Did you just say, like, I'm the DJ? Like,
I think I got a bit skittish, to be honest. I was like, I just stutter, like, I was just doing the music pushing buttons. Like.
See, we get that all the time at the market grounds. Like, we go out and have a cigarette and then they're trying to get everyone to leave. I'm like, no, we just got off stage. Yeah. Like, we're okay. We're all right. Don't worry about us.
Please, I don't want to stay here.
We've had situations where the security guard didn't believe us and actually goes and gets the manager and it's like, no, like, see, we're all good. We're cool. That's my laptop. Like, I need my laptop.
Please let me retrieve it.
That's exactly it. But that's just like, sometimes, security or bartenders and stuff like that, they kind of just, they do and don't pay attention. They don't realize, like, your staff.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like there's actually a bit of a disparity between like hospo and DJing and stuff. Like I remember like I used to hear people be like, oh, the DJ shit tonight, and I'd be like, oh, do you know how to DJ? And that was before I started. Like, I was just like, they're not going, the bartender's shit tonight. Like,
that's exactly it. Right?
So, like, maybe, don't. Like, but it is a little bit about, like, us, looking out for each other as if we are in the same family, because we are.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. And that's where it's like, if someone has a problem with someone or something happens, it's just like, the best thing you can do is approach it just in a passive manner and just be like, no, but why though?
Exactly. And then I used to ask staff, why do you feel that way? And then I'd pass it on to the next person. I'd be like, hey, just to let you know, the last DJ, they didn't enjoy this, and people like that.
Yeah. And so like with this whole podcast as well, like I actually got a guest on a while ago, and me and Damo were blown away because I uploaded the photo of him coming on, right? And then I got 4 messages from people being like, why are you getting that dickhead on? And I'm like, I met him at a bar. Like, he was running an event and he seemed like a cool dude.
Saying.
That's it. It's like, he throws events. He seems like a pretty cool guy. Like, I've never met the bloke before. And then they started unloading all this stuff onto me. I'm like, I know, but I'm just going to interview him. Like, I don't know him from 2 stents.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
And maybe his perspective will, give you a better insight onto who they are as a person, and maybe you'll feel differently about them after this.
And that's the thing as well, is like after the episode...
Maybe you'll hate them more.
Yeah, maybe. After the episode was over though, I kind of leveled with him. It was just like, I mean, like, dude, like, it seems like you pissed a lot of people off. And that's, in a way, they know who you are now. But at the same time, it's like... we as you said, we all got to act as a family in a way.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just throw people under the bus if you have done that. I don't know if you have or you haven't, but we just got to be cool and casual because
I don't prescribe to the all press is good press notion. Like,
that's exactly it. And the thing is Perth is so small that
for sure.
And if you burn bridges, it's just not good because you'll leave the scene as quick as you came into the scene.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
It is super true. And like, there are so many private groups on Facebook and stuff, and it's easy to think people don't discuss it just because it's not maybe on your news feed, but it is out there. And it is really important to respect everyone in the industry around you and not just assume, like, due to your own biases. Like, it's so easy to be like, oh, they're getting gigs because they're friends with this person. Maybe they're not friends with that person. Maybe they have an online presence with that person.
That's it.
Like, you really don't know.
That's exactly it. And that's like, it comes back to one of those things where like a picture can tell 1,000 words.
Yeah.
And it's like, you just don't know what the situation is or what's going on behind the scenes or anything. It's just, if you look at that at a surface level and you get upset, that's just jealousy. For
sure. Like, I had someone ask me if I was sleeping with a certain promoter who books me for most of my events.
That's what I mean as well.
And it really upset me because they're engaged, or they just got engaged.
Okay.
But like, he's dating someone, and it was so out of this world to me that someone would even question that. And it made me feel so disrespected because I was like, oh man, like I feel like I worked really hard for this, and now you're saying that you're implying something that didn't happen.
That's it.
And that's upsetting to me.
This is a good segue into the part that you wanted to get into in a way. But that's where it's so unfortunate, because then it's like, if a girl does try and get into the scene and it's like, oh, she must be screwing the promoter. And it's like, what's going through your head to even think that? Like, you see them up on stage and they're loving what they're doing and they're really into it. But then why would you say something like that? Because they're probably not. And you don't know. You don't even know who they are.
No shit. And like, I think that also comes back to like marketing yourself, because DJing isn't just about transitions and song selection. It's about engagement. It's about networking.
That's it.
It's about marketing. You have to understand all of those things to do it, as well as like be a good DJ. And I've had so many people who are like, oh, I've been DJing longer than you, and I've been doing this since high school. And I'm like, well, like, look within and think about why you haven't been booked.
Yeah.
Because the reasons I've been booked come down to all of those things: engagement, marketing, networking. And that's just like the hard truth that people don't really want to talk about. Like, if no one can hear you making those amazing transitions in your bedroom, and if you're not talking to those promoters, then I don't know why you expect things to just fall into your lap.
That's exactly it. And that's like, honestly, one of the reasons why I actually started doing this whole show in a way, right, is because first of all, I started watching Joe Rogan, and my brother wanted to start a podcast, and it's like, well, I want to do that then.
Joe Rogan, not okay right now.
It. But then the thing is like, I started, when Lucy's Love Shack first opened, right? Anton forwarded me on to the guys who own the place. And when I started playing there, right, I mean, I was going through a whole, you know, people go through things in their own life, right? Yeah. But then one of the bartenders that I have worked with before at different bars and stuff like that literally told me, it's like, oh, the word, somehow we got onto the conversation. And it was like, the word around town is either that you love him or you hate him. And I kind of took a step back and was like, why do people hate me? Like, I think I'm an alright person. Like,
yeah.
And I was like, well, but what have I done to them? And then, like, you know,
comes from a place of jealousy.
Being ADD as well, it's like overthinking and being like, you know, getting worried and getting upset.
And I think people with ADHD are quite commonly like people pleasers because we can't understand like, what is the thing that I'm doing that's bothering you? Like,
that's exactly it. And then you overthink it and you try and make sure everyone's okay. But then, you know, it came down to things like the reasons why, what I could think of is like going to Capital nightclub, right? And going down to the VIP room and then just finishing a gig. And sometimes you just want to sit there and just have a beer and just relax. Yeah. But then friends would come down and be like, let's party, let's do this. And like, no, I just finished doing 7 hours. Like, I just want to relax. And they're like, oh, he's no fun. All right, see you later.
Or they think they're better than us. Like, I have actually messaged someone recently because before Late Night Tough Guy, I was so nervous.
Do you want one of these at all? No? No. Yeah, no.
Yes, please. Actually.
Okay,
no, I'm gonna have my wine.
Okay. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have a sip. Before Late Night Tough Guy, I was so nervous and I bumped into a bunch of girls that I went to high school with. Mm-hmm. And
oh shit, sorry.
And they, you know, they were super keen to have they were super keen to have a chat, and I was just so nervous that I couldn't get a word out. Like I was just, you know, one word answers, and I was like, I don't know how to explain to you in this moment right now. And I ended up messaging them saying, oh, I'm sorry about the other night that I was a bit one-worded. I was super anxious. Absolutely nothing, you know, there's nothing wrong here. And I think that's something that people overlook quite a lot because your job is so extroverted that you're expected to be on call 24/7.
That's it. That's 100%. Yeah. And once again, Genga said that as well. Yeah. Where it's like, as I said, like you go up on stage and they expect you to be the exact same on stage as off stage.
Yeah,
and
for
like,
sure.
No, that's not how it happens.
It's just like the tiniest taste of like famedom ever. Yeah. Like I can't even imagine how like big time celebrities do
that's
it.
Like. And so that's like, you know, a good example is like, look what happened to Kim Kardashian and Kanye. And it's like,
dude.
And that's what I mean. Like, have you ever seen, I wonder if you can pull it up, Dame. Like, there's a video of Kanye who he's leaving his garage and then it's like the publicity just straight on him and it's like 4 a.m. in the morning and he's just like, can you just not leave me alone? Like, I'm just trying to live life. But
and I found myself every like single time since I've started in this kind of career, just being a lot more empathetic towards other people. Is I'm like, that person's rude to me at the shops. I have no idea what their day has been like. Yeah. Because the amount of times
yep, this is it.
We got a clip. Yeah, the amount of times I've. Yeah, I shut the fuck.
Do you have anything to say about Jim Kimmel? Do you think he was too much with you?
Dude, you're too much.
That's it, right? That's Kanye.
Yeah. He can't get his garage door down. I hate
mad at Jim? No. Are you mad at Jim Kimmel, Kanye?
But see, like, in a way, like, Kanye had a breakdown. And look at this going on. Like, photos
and it's like, everyone's like, I wonder why. Like,
you out in front of
and it's because 4 a.m. Sorry, you go. Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry.
No, you. To make money. But it is one of those things where it's like you said, like, as well, your photo shoots and, like, trying to have, like, everything on your Facebook or your Instagram or your social media as, like, a go.
Yeah.
But then you just try and just chill sometimes and people don't see that. They don't want that.
And I think something that people don't talk about enough is the effect that it has on the psyche going from the high highs to the low lows. Like sitting, like going from having people essentially chanting your name to sitting in the silence of your car and being like, I'm going back to my apartment alone and I am kind of sad. Like, and like, like being sad isn't something that exclusively affects like it affects anyone. Like like depression can come for anyone.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize as well, where it's like with this job, the late nights and what was the monkey? Oh, that was Joe Rogan, I'm pretty sure. But that's like with the late nights and like I can safely say that when I was working at Lucy's Love Shack and I was doing Friday and Saturday nights until 4 a.m, but I was DJing from like 6 p.m. to 4 a.m, waking up 6 p.m. to 4 a.m, it takes its toll and you feel horrible sometimes. And you just feel so down in the dumps and run down and your body's like you're wearing yourself out.
For sure, dude.
And it's just one of those things where, you know, you get in your car and like, okay, well, I'm going home alone to my 2 cats.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm the cat guy.
Yeah, and it does make you like need to focus more on like, it's taken me pretty much up until now to realize that I need to, you know, because I went from working hospo like crazy hours, like finishing at 2, 3 a.m, working 12-hour days every day, to being like, okay, I'm going to be a carer. I'm going to work during the day. So I just started doing that. I was DJing. So life is all about balance. And
I got to say as well, you got a good heart to do disability care.
Thank you.
That's really cool that you do that.
Honestly, it makes me so happy. I absolutely love my clients. Like, and it's a really nice balance doing something like that just like, you know, both these jobs warm my heart, but obviously like playing EXO Tour Life isn't the same as like helping someone do their groceries. But like, yeah, I think that's something we all need to acknowledge, like going from almost feeling on top of the world to that can actually like be quite a shock to the system.
That's it.
And like
it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster, and it's a roller coaster not everyone's used to being on, because most people go to work, they come home, and then, you know, maybe they go out for drinks and that's their roller coaster.
That's it, yeah. That's exactly it.
So I think it's super important, to I don't know, open a dialogue about it. I don't know what the solution is.
Yeah, like that's exactly it. What is potentially the solution? Like, I mean, joining social sports and like doing... Yeah. Because the life of a DJ is not a normal life in
exactly.
a way.
Like, I've been trying to get a regular Wednesday fitness class going, like I've been trying to go to one for ages. And then every time I end up DJing somewhere and then it kind of ruins those plans, or I'm working late, and... You know, you try and do these things for yourself and you try and do the healthy thing, but it doesn't always work out because you don't want to turn down opportunities.
That's exactly it. And then also making people smile and dancing, having a great time, because
that makes you happy as well.
That's exactly it. And that's where it's like, the
vibe.
Spot.
But that's all every DJ's weak spot, is we want to make everyone happy. I feel like
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
And it is just one of those things as well, because it's like, you know, with working on the weekend, sometimes you don't get to hang out with your friends, or you don't get, because, you know, they live normal lives and all that. But no one's normal. Nothing is normal.
No.
Especially in this time and age, and age and everything that's going on. But at the same time, it's like, you know, when you're going out and you're working stupid hours and you're loving it, but then you see people get relationships and have families and settle down, and you're like... You know, like, I want that, but at the same time, is if I do get a partner, are they going to allow... Like, that's why I envy some people like Rovi in a way. Like, Rovi's got, you know, him and his girlfriend, they've been together for a long time by the looks of, or from what I can gather, but they work so well together.
Yeah.
And it's not,
and that's on people understanding each other's dynamics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. And that's where it's like, you know, being able to get your partner to understand that you love music, or you love the lifestyle. You're not, you know, you're not being a seedy dude who's going out for the girls, because you don't, you know, like...
DJs, I don't know any DJs doing that for the girls.
That's exactly it. But then it's like almost the stigma can be attached to that almost.
Yeah, for sure. No, for sure. If I wasn't doing it, I would assume that. I'd be like,
yeah, that's it.
Nice.
And that's exactly it, from like a random punter's point of view, and they see 2 girls up in the booth, and it's like, okay, the DJ's trying to get laid, but at the same time, the DJ's like, how do I get them out of the booth?
Yeah,
like,
or even like,
leave.
Oh my God, like looking at your friends like, I cannot wait till we leave.
Yeah. And so like... At Hugo's, I played at Hugo's once, and I found it just baffling, because I had 2 girls get up in the booth, right?
But girls love getting in the booth at Hugo's.
They really do. But then I
let them up there, but I'm like, don't touch anything.
That's exactly it. But I was blown away though, because then it's like I had the boyfriend on the side of the booth giving me evils and staring at me like, don't you touch my girl. And I'm like,
talk to her then, because I'm stuck here.
That's it. I'm working kind of thing.
I'm fricka working.
And, you know, like he looked mean and I was kind of like, just please don't touch my equipment. Like this is all my own personal stuff. I don't want it damaged.
Yeah, please, BB.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's just the perspective, and that's where it comes down to, like, you know, I can't remember who pointed this out to me, but it makes total sense. It's like when you're 18 and you're 19, you're kind of naive in a way almost.
Oh, for sure.
And like, you know, you've
never been in that environment before.
That's exactly it. And you know, like when I was 18 going to Paramount and stuff like that, I wasn't going there for the DJs. Even though I wanted to DJ and I was doing it house parties and stuff like that in Busselton, I was just going there getting drunk with my friends and having a great time.
Yeah. And
with doing that, it's like I kind of just didn't respect the scene in a way. Because, you know, like, you know how guys and girls can be. You can be troublemakers, you can have fun, you can do this, you can do that. Everyone's like different in their own way. But when you go out to a venue and you're just going there because your friends are going there, it's like, you kind of like, when you get older, you know, it's like with music as well. You develop your taste and you develop like the vibe in a way of like places you would like to go and hang out and the things that you would like to do. But it's just like, where was I going with this? But like, but it's just.
I feel like it's I'm gonna cut it.
Okay, you're good. Your turn. Pass the ball here.
I was low key the opposite. Like I was going there because my friends were going there, and then they would spend all night in the smokers area, and then I was just like, I don't understand how this machinery works, but I love what you're doing with it. Like, I just had so much like admiration. Like I just put all DJs on this crazy pedestal. Before I still put people on a pedestal, but.
Well, how do you feel about how it's become so accessible in a way as well?
I think it's.
Because like, you know, like kids are getting, like 16-year-olds are getting DJ decks for their birthday now. And obviously you have to pair it with a laptop. Or
exactly.
I've had friends message me and they're being like, you know, what equipment should I get and this and that. But then
I get people messaging me all the time. Being
and then
like,
they sell
what
it.
do you use?
And they sell it in 6 months or something like that.
Yeah.
Or a year, because then they pick it up, they try and learn it, but they're not interested in it. But it's like, it's so easy just to go down to store DJ and go, yep, I'll buy 10,000. Like, I had a mate who was he was FIFO, and he went out and literally bought a brand new 2000 Nexuses and DJM 900 and the whole lot, but he never used it.
And I think that's the difference between
like the passion in a way.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between having a passion for it and like wanting to do it like for the sake of being able to say like that you DJ like out and about. Because
but it shouldn't be like being able to say like, oh, I play here or I do this or I do that. It's like
like that's certainly not a clout thing. And I think that I don't want to say real DJs, because like anyone who DJs at home is a real DJ. You're all real DJs. But I think like the difference between someone who has like a passion for it and someone who merely wants to be seen as someone who does it is pursuing with it regardless of whether you think you're good or regardless of whether anyone else thinks you're good. I know for a fact that I would still because I bought my equipment before I had like my first gig or whatever. I know that I would still have that equipment sitting in my room. Maybe I wouldn't use it as much as I do now, but it's definitely something that I'll always do. I just really enjoy it, and I just think there's such a fun little art and such a fun little brain puzzle to DJing, and I just like thoroughly enjoy learning about it, like learning about it and trying things in a different way, and you know, testing my friends, like, you know, I'll teach my friends how to DJ and we'll have a little back-to-back and they'll be like, that was trash, and I'll be like, yeah, I know. And they're like, it's just a fun little game, and being able to share music with people is the main reason I want to do it. So yeah. It's
also one of those things as well. Like I had an argument with a friend, well, kind of an acquaintance of mine a couple of years ago.
A person.
Yeah, that's it. A person. But
I never tried your beer.
In a way, I always treat DJing in a way, it's an art form, but also it's almost an instrument. It's like a modern
for
day
sure.
instrument, basically.
Especially when you're mixing in key, when you think about like BPM, when you think about the fact that we're, take the bass away, put the mids and like
that's it, yeah. And it's like the whole process.
There's so many
behind
elements to it, yeah.
That's exactly it. And then so the argument I got into him with it was, I just said to him, it's like, okay, so if I'm playing for 6 hours and I'm taking people on a journey through chill, dancey, whatever it be, would you class it as an instrument or being as an artist?
Yeah.
And he was like, no. And I just said, why? Because it's not an actual original instrument, such as a guitar or a piano or, the cello or whatever else it would be. But the thing is, though, is like if you're playing for 6 hours and you're curating that set, and it's not the same set as everything else that you've done.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's like your own freestyle kind of thing. That is playing an instrument in a way.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I'm a firm believer in anything can be an art form.
Yeah.
Making a cup of tea can be an art form.
That's exactly it. Yeah, 100%. Coffee.
My mum's a painter. My mum's an artist. My dad's an engineer.
That's an art.
See his stupid little drafts of his whatever you're making.
I wonder if they're watching.
Yeah. And like, but anything is an art form if you're passionate about it enough. Yeah.
That's it.
I don't know what else to rebuttal to that. I feel as though like,
but that's where
we agree to disagree, me and your friend.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And then some people can just like, they just don't see that side of it in a way.
I think that's a very I think it's just a really closed-minded view that a lot of people had, and I will have, and I think that even my parents were like, you're going to be pressing play tonight? Mm-hmm. And then like I remember one night I was like, okay, come and see how I do this. And I made both of them, give me a few songs that they like. I downloaded all of them and I mixed them together and I verbally said what I was doing with each track. And my parents were like, that's far too complicated. And I was like, oh, this isn't an instrument?
That's exactly it. And so that's just, it's technology in itself because that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like it's the new digital age of
music. And we're going to see, like, I've been seeing so many more ads for instruments that are interpretive, like what's it called? Like
synths and like pads.
Yeah,
and
like ones that you more so feel than you're looking for notes and stuff like that. Like it all goes on intuition.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've been seeing a lot more of that recently, and I just think to myself, this is the new wave of music. Not that I'm not faltering any other. My brother plays like classical guitar, electrical guitar. Kudos to you, bruh. Yeah. But like, I don't know if I have the attention span for that, but I think these new kind of types of creating music are really awesome because, like, I don't know, it really like allows everyone to take part in it and everyone allowed to express themselves.
That's exactly it. But that's where I would say as well, where it's one of those things where it's not negative because I don't want to be negative, but then like, as I said, like the people that push through it and really want to do it, then it's like, they've got the passion, they want to do it kind of thing, instead of just being like the classic thing of such as like an Ibiza club and basically they're just paying some Russian model to stand there and just press play kind of thing.
Oh my God, remember that time Paris Hilton made a song?
Well, that's not even that. Do you want to know a little fun fact? When she when she played at Ibiza, she was getting paid, I think it was like $85,000, right? And she was not even DJing. She got Deadmau5 to help curate her whole set.
Oh my goodness.
And then she'd get on stage and then she'd get out her foam cannon whilst it's playing like a pre-recorded mix and shoot foam into the crowd. Yeah. People would still pay and go see that.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you please look up DJ Paulie D?
Oh no! Don't look at that.
It's so funny. He's trying to scratch Barbie Girl. Yeah, and it's like this is in front of like I don't know 800 people or something like that. But it's just horrible.
Like I've even seen a lot of criticism for Steve Aoki because he is a full entertainer.
That's exactly what he is.
Yeah, he's an entertainer. Like sometimes he pre-records sets yeah.
Wait, can you No, like pause it and unmute it. Because we should be fine. Because he's like.
Their stuff always know you're playing.
Look, ready? Oh yeah, DJ Paulie D. But see, like, is that when it gets a bit too much? Because, like, you've got dancers on stage. You've got this guy who's got his hair all the way up and he's got huge muscles and he's obviously doing it for Instagram followers kind of thing. But then, like...
Oh my god, do you know who's great at scratching? Not Polly D, but Mishap, Jess.
Jess.
Yeah, I froth her so hard. Like, she is good at her job.
She's very good at her job. And she's learnt from amazing people. Honestly,
yeah,
like
she's sick. And this is terrible.
That's it. And look at him. This is like DJ Pauly D.
But yeah, all those people may not be enjoying that.
But it's the clout almost, right? Because
but that is also, at least he's entertaining.
Yeah, he's entertaining.
He's fulfilled half of the job.
Yeah.
The other half I'm yet to hear.
That's exactly it. But that's the thing as well. It's like referencing, say, Jess, right? And she's done her own thing. She's scratching and she's mixing and she's beat jumping and
she's
like
got her
sampling.
own style. Like she's she's definitely got her brand and she's like
exactly it.
She's pulled it off. Like,
and that's where you have to stand out almost.
Yeah.
And that's like what I was saying about the tequila thing. Is because it's like, I don't know if anyone else is doing that, but I just thought that was a great idea to go and just have shots of tequila to the tequila song.
And I've been quite paranoid because people have been like, oh, are you so-and-so? Or, because I'm just another blonde DJ. And I've been like, oh God, like, do I have to change my style or my look? Like, and it's hard because you want to stay true to yourself, but you also, want to be someone differing in the market because, you know, you have to look at stuff as a business brain as well.
That's it.
And I guess, I haven't really come to a conclusion with that as of yet. I've still kind of stayed true to myself throughout, like, in terms of style and stuff, like, throughout everything, like...
Well, I would say just stay true to yourself.
Yeah, and I think, like, now, like, the more I talk about it, the more I realize, like, well... we're actually not the same. This person actually doesn't know either of us. And if they'd seen both of us together, they would probably think differently.
That's it. And
yeah.
That's exactly it. And that's what I mean as well, where it's like the social media presence. That's like another reason why I started doing this as well, because you see people's DJ pages, but you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
You just see it's like, okay, glitz, glamour, standing on stage, popping like foam cannons or whatever else is going on. It's like, oh, they're a party person. But then they come on here and they're like, I had no idea they were like that.
Yeah, and I'm definitely a party person, but I'm definitely also excited to go to bed.
That's it, right? I'm the exact same. But it's just like, as I said, like it's just part of the lifestyle, part of the career. It's part of this whole, you know, this providing an image. Basically.
Yeah, and like just to outline. As much as I've said, like, oh, like, you know, there's like a super big contrast from, you know, the highs and the lows and stuff. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like, I am so grateful for every single opportunity I've been given. And I'm so grateful for the people who, like, initially believed in me and have given me chances from then on. And even grateful for stuff like this. Like, the fact that no, like I'm super humbled to have even been asked to be on a podcast. Like that's sick. Like the fact that I can even say that's happened. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Well, I was just happy you said yes. I was like, oh, okay, she wants to go on. Sweet, like.
For sure. Like, yeah, I think. Yeah, I honestly, it's so easy to beat yourself up about, you know, these people are doing this and these people are doing that. But when I think about where I was a year ago or 2 years ago, I would never imagine that I would be sitting here, like, talking about the opportunities that I've been given. Like, one of my major goals this year was to be able to play a festival. Unfortunately, that festival got cancelled. But the fact that I was even asked to play Fresh Produce, which was meant to be, like, last month, I would have been the DJ in between all of the acts. So I would have been supporting Mallrat, Lime Cordial, like all my favorite artists. Yeah. And I was like, the fact that I was even asked is such an achievement. And like, you know, there was a couple of weeks afterwards where I was a little bit down when it got cancelled due to COVID stuff. But I just thought, this is just the beginning. Like, this is, you know, the second year in your career as a DJ, and it's really only going to go up from here if you keep, like, trying.
That's it. And if you keep pushing and you keep
exactly.
going, you just see what happens.
And I definitely will. Like, I really don't know how to stop.
Yeah. But that's a good thing, though. Because then it's like you've got ambition. You want to see how far you can push it. And that's like, in 4 years, you could be touring around the world. Who knows?
Imagine that.
Okay, imagine that.
Imagine
and then I look back on this episode and be like, I knew her.
You know her.
Yeah. That's it. I used to work with her and then she came on here and was good mates with her.
She spilled drinks all over my shit.
And now she's in Las Vegas. Yeah. And so I have to say as well, we're 15 minutes over time.
Oh my goodness, we've been chatting away.
Yeah.
Oh wow, we did it. Yeah, I didn't even need a pee break.
We got some
comments and stuff. Oh, here we go. Shout out to Tim and Adam.
Yeah. Hell yeah, guys.
Yes, I will
leave my question.
Giving up love emojis.
Thank you, Mitchell Robinson. Thank you, Matt Bird.
Oh,
thank you, Adam.
Matt Bird's watching on Twitch as well. Nice.
Tim Preston, hell yeah, guys.
Oh, thank you, Adam.
Oh, and Gerald.
Where is Holly? Oh, I didn't even tell you where I got my name from.
Sorry about that. Where did you get that name from?
So the last thing I'm going to say, I don't know why I did that with my hands. I'm really sorry.
Just like the whole Nixon thing.
Yeah. I got my name, like, I was super under pressure. Your shot were like, you have to tell us what your DJ name is, like, on the day of, like, a few days before the competition. And I remember the night before, I'd been out with my friends and I was hiding, like, in a corner of the bar about to leave. Like, I was trying to smoke bomb it. And I could hear my friends in the background of this video being like, where's Holly? Where's Holly? And I was just like, that's my DJ name.
That's it. Very nice. That's awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you guys so much for the comments. That's super cute.
No, thank you for coming on, honestly. It's been awesome.
Thanks so much.
This has been really, really good.
Good
we
chat.
touched on so many different subjects.
Yeah, right?
It's been good. It's been really good. You have to come back on.
I definitely will.
Yeah, you have to. Now it's on camera. You have to. All right. So this is episode 92. Thank you guys so much for watching. And then next week we have we have Mitch Baker coming on.
Yeah.
Mitch Baker he's been in a band called Dallas Royale.
Oh, great band.
Yeah, and so they do every year they do Oktoberfest and they tour around Australia.
Sick.
So very cool to talk about all that.
Awesome. I'll definitely be tuning in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comment and say stuff and I'll be like, oh, look, we got Holly's in the room.
I want to shout out.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks so much for having me. This was an honor.
This has been a lot of fun.
Cool.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. We have to wave at the camera. Oh yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. All right, see you guys.